Hello, everybody, and welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul, hosting tonight. John Meadows is directing and producing. We're live from our beautiful studios in Chicagoland, and we have a very special guest with us, friend of the program, great guy, sports radio legend, host of The Odds Couple on ESPN 1000, and host of the new podcast, Somebody Big Just Died, on the Bears Ballroom Network. Please welcome Mike North to the program. Mike, it is great to see you. How are you?
It's great to see you again, John. It sounds like you're doing good. The new digs look absolutely outstanding. You trimmed the beard, it looks like. I mean, you're looking great. Can't complain. Everything's going well on my end. Doing some great stuff with Carmen DeFalco, with the Odds Couple. We're going to be on this Friday. Podcast starts about 11:30 in the morning, and then we have the 8 o'clock at night show on ESPN 1000, then 7 in the morning. On Saturday, we'll be chock full of NCAA stuff. So looking forward to that. And, of course, Somebody Big Just Died was my brainchild that I just happened to have about a month ago. But, we could talk about that later on. I'm sure you got other things to talk about. But I do want to touch on that later because it's probably something as different as I've ever done in my career.
I was going to say, when I first saw that come out, I was shocked that it's Mike North doing something other than sports, but I've seen a couple of the episodes so far, and it's flowed really well.
Yeah, it's doing real well. We got great sponsors. We got people that believe in us. First of all, we got Cumberland Chapels. I mean, the Cumberland Chapels, they're the Portillos of funeral homes, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, beautiful place, great people that work there. Been to numerous, if you live in the Chicagoland area for more than 10 years, you've had to have been to Cumberland Chapels, unfortunately, to see somebody that you knew or what have you. And then we got Pennyville Station. That's a restaurant in Park Ridge. Tino Antonacci, the guy that helped we brought those TV shows to Basta Pasta. He was the owner of Basta Pasta. His son, Tony, and owns the place, and Tino's there every day. And, it's a beautiful thing. So we're back with them. And then I got something to announce pretty soon involving a 5-part type of series that I'm going to be sponsored by Raul Jewelers out there in Hoffman Estates, Barrington Road. So, I retired and then everybody started, I got a little busy. What could I tell you? But, now that I've run through all my stuff, now we can go running through all the money, the way we're going to make money and the way the Bears are going to win and all that.
What did you make of all these moves, Mike?
Well, I think that, we got to temper everything, but I did like the trade just from a glance. I mean, my brother lives in South Carolina, so he's a Bear fan, but he's a Carolina Panther fan too now because he lives out there. In fact, both my brothers live in that area now. And my one brother told me, he says, and I knew this, but he says, they don't know who they wanted one. So basically, Carolina gave us a package, pretty healthy package, I would say, for a number one pick that maybe they shouldn't have done. If you don't know who you want at 1, then go 2, go 3, maybe trade up to 4, but maybe they have their eyes set on one particular person. I'm hearing there's not anybody that's a wholesale deal. I don't believe in that Florida quarterback. I don't believe in anybody that throws 53% in college. I think he's, been leaked out as somebody that's an athlete. Well, welcome to the NFL. Most of your quarterbacks are athletes now. As far as the Bears are concerned, we lost Montgomery tonight, David Montgomery, and we've lost Roquan Smith. Okay. So we picked up some guys in free agency, but we lost 2 pertinent players, basically. So what we're doing is we're filling in some holes. We're also replacing a guy that we lost. I mean, we're paying this linebacker that much money. Why couldn't we have paid Roquan Smith that much money? Basically the same type of position. But I do like the Bears, what they did there overall. The question is Fields. That's the question. I'm hearing he's going to be MVP because they picked up people in free agent. I would ask all Bear fans this. Jimmy Garoppolo's 42-17. If the Raider fans, and I know a couple of them, they're absolutely ecstatic that they got him. How ecstatic would we be if we got a guy like Garoppolo? Let's say we didn't have Justin Fields. We'd be just as happy. we'd be happy to pick up a couple of these guys. I wouldn't want Derek Carr. No way. Okay. I don't want him. There's a couple other guys I wouldn't want. Garoppolo's one of those guys, the pocket quarterback, the linemen know where he's at, that could get the job done. And I think Philadelphia got damaged badly in this free agent period. They won't be back at the Super Bowl. Because the Bears did get, and other people, some of their pertinent players. So I'm going to give the Bears a thumbs up, which you know me, I'm very hard on them. But for that trade, I like it. I like that trade a lot, and I think that DJ Moore is a nice receiver. He's not a top 5, but he could be a top 10. He could be an Allen Robinson type that gets big numbers. Problem is he won't be having a quarterback throwing to him that's conducive. Well, he didn't have really quarterbacks thrown to him in Carolina either. Sort of reminds me of Allen Robinson. Will this guy be Fields as like Allen Robinson was to Trubisky? We'll see, and we'll see what happens. But right now, I give him a positive grade.
What do you make of the Bears committing to Justin Fields, though? I mean, they made this trade knowing that they're not going to take a quarterback at number 1, so Fields is the guy. How do you feel about that?
Well, I've never been his biggest fan, but I can't deny what he did last year. As far as running the ball, I've looked at other quarterbacks in their second year or third year like him, that he's got comparable numbers. The person he doesn't have comparable numbers to is Mitch Trubisky. Mitch Trubisky's numbers his second year blow Justin Fields off the map. So if you want to talk about running, yes. You want to talk about passing, there's no comparison. There's none. And I tweet out every day so everybody will see it. And I want to thank Ryan out there who's on North to North. Hit this first, that Trubisky's got better stats than Danny Jones. And Danny Jones is making $40 million a year, and Trubisky's a bust. That tells you the stupidity of the people that covered the game, the bigotry of not liking a guy because he didn't fulfill a number 2 pick type of expectation, but he fulfilled a first-round pick. You look at his stats. Guy threw 6 touchdowns in a game. Guy threw 24 touchdowns in the season. His stats are better than Danny Jones. Check it out at North to North. I put it up every day and rub it in everybody's face because it shows the sheer stupidity. And somebody's going to go, well, he didn't start last year, Mike. Well, he started. Then he got replaced at 10-6 at halftime. They put in a rookie. He loses that game. At the end of the year, they missed the playoffs by 1. He keeps Trubisky in that game, that Tomlin. They win that game, and who knows what happens. But they couldn't wait to do what they did to Mitch in Chicago, in Pittsburgh. Mitch goes 3-3, brought him back in a game. Okay? He can't win for losing. So they brought in Pickett, and now I'm hearing they're down on Pickett out there in Pittsburgh. So the nonsense. All I saw was Danny Jones's numbers and Trubisky's numbers, and I was vindicated.
Yeah, Daniel Jones last year had 15 touchdowns, 5 picks, around a 93 passer rating, and now he's going to make $40 million. But, Mike, hold on a minute.
And
Mitch Trubisky's a bust.
Yes, and the Giants had the easiest schedule in football last year. Let's see how things go this year. But the nonsense of grown-ass men and women who have been trying to sell me, and I feel like I've been alone on an island. When I saw that contract for Jones, and then I saw that comparison, I got it right here. I mean, it's easy. I just happen to have it. I said, you know what? Maybe I'll bring it on and try to wake some people up. Because Bear fans, 70% of them are as dumb as a box of rocks. They're all meatballs. 70% of the media, most of the guys been covering the Bears for over 15 years. I mean, all they've done on the job is get fat. They haven't held the Bears accountable. They get their free passes and everything else. 75% of them. I'm not going to pick on, the whole crew. But if you've been covering the Bears like some of those guys since 2004, 2005, you're working for them. You ain't working for no damn newspaper. Come on. Hey, you like my shirt?
Trickery. Why'd you wear that shirt tonight?
I brought it out. You got to have a little trickery for the NCAA. But anyway, I'll find this in a minute because here it is. Here we go.
Okay.
Trubisky 55 starts, Jones 53 starts. Trubisky 68 TDs, Jones 60. Trubisky 38 INTs, Jones 30. Trubisky 12,000 yards, Jones 11,600. Trubisky 86.4 passer rating, Jones 86.5. Trubisky 64% completion, same with Jones. One's getting 40 million, the other gets 7 million. Something ain't right.
You know what I don't understand, Mike, and maybe you could answer this question. New York media is usually very tough on teams. I'm surprised that everybody's tolerating Daniel Jones. Remember, he's a first-round pick, top 10 guy as well. The Giants traded up to get him. These are the numbers that he's putting up. This is his production.
They were 9-7-1.
Right.
They were 9-7-1. They were three teams came out of that division, and Philadelphia. Okay, I knew they were going to lose the Super Bowl. I knew it. Dallas, New York, all three out of the weakest NFC I've seen in a decade. In a decade. So we'll see what happens. It's not about Jones. It's about how Trubisky's been screwed over. The 10-6 game, it reminded me so much of when they pulled him for Foles in the Atlanta game. Only they won the Atlanta game, the Bears. Pittsburgh lost that game. Mitch comes back and salvages a game later on that year. Because Pickett, who's got 2 concussions already, okay, he didn't even play a full season. So it's going to be interesting to see. But the football, I think the Raiders did well with Jimmy G. I'm a big fan of his. And we'll find out about Frisco. What happens if Purdy just caught lightning in a bottle? And what happens if Trey Lance can't play? You know? Then they have a lack of respect for a guy that was 41-17 that I have never seen in the annals of pro football history. For a quarterback that won that many games, brought him to the Super Bowl 1 year, did not win, and also to the Final Four, to the semis. I've never seen that. Unless I talk about Trubisky. You want to talk about disrespect? There's quarterbacks all over the league that get disrespected. Look at Lamar Jackson. And I tweeted out for the same guys that were calling Trubisky a bust are the same guys going, why isn't somebody picking up Lamar? He's so good. Now you know how it feels. You got a bona fide former MVP. Okay. Granted, he wants too much damn money, but that's the Cleveland Browns' fault, but that's beside the point. A bona fide former MVP. Without him, they are definitely a last place team, the Baltimore Ravens. We know that. The kid's a better runner than Fields, a better passer than Fields will ever be. I'd take Lamar Jackson for Fields right now. Why is anybody going after him? So then I hear these people that call Trubisky a bust going, how can they do this? It's politics, folks. And it's the league. They form opinions. Don't forget, Lamar Jackson mysteriously stopped showing up to games last year. Word starts filtering out. But Lamar Jackson and Trubisky are outcasts. Think about that. While Daniel Jones is collecting $40 million. It's a joke.
I laugh because I still can't believe we live in a world in which the Giants chose to pay him. Even after so many people warned them not to do it, they still did it. Now they're going to be stuck with him for many years.
Well, they kept him for a 2-year deal for sure.
Right.
So they're only indebted to him, I think, Johnny, for 2. But, hey, look. I didn't hear Aaron. Go up below. Justin Fields has had an open field. And I hope he does well because he surprised the hell out of me last year. And I'm the guy that said, you got to bring him back for another year off of last year. But if he doesn't perform this year, then all bets are off. If he's missing receivers wide open, if he's holding on to the football, if he's fumbling the ball at record rates like he's been doing, okay? If frustration takes over. Don't forget, you got a whole new crew of players coming in. But we'll see what happens. I want him to succeed. I didn't want Mitch to leave. I still think he should be the quarterback of the Bears. I haven't, and the nonsense I hear about last year and Fields last year, and now he's going to be an MVP. Bear fans should just shut up. You've been wrong about every damn quarterback except mine, Trubisky. Let it go.
Mike North here on Sports Talk Chicago, and impassioned Mike North here with us. What's your expectation for Fields next year? What should we be expecting then, based on what you're saying about what he should do?
We got rid of Mitch, and he had a 95% quarterback rating in his second year. We'll give Fields another this year. Fields better throw for 60+%. Fields better throw for like 22, 23 touchdowns, maybe 12, 13, 14 interceptions. Fields better run less. Like to see him run for about 500-600 yards, but buy more time when he has to scramble instead of automatically taking off. I want to see improvement in his release time. There were times last year I counted numerous times, 1,000, 2,000, like in a touch football league, 3,000, and he still got the ball. You got to be gone. But I think last year he did bowl me over. The Bears did their typical BS. Here's a kid. And this is why I do like him, because you could tell he wants to win so bad, but he just has no idea yet how to implement that winning, and now he's getting some better players around him. But he's got a chance to break the all-time record. And what do the Bears do? Instead of throwing him a bone and the fans of Chicago a bone for them to actually watch the game with a purpose, they decide after almost killing the kid, okay, to sit him. And I said to myself, don't you want that chip in your pocket that you did something positive to end the year as a football club? You broke the rushing record, which is tough. Randall Cunningham. You've had great running quarterbacks. Cunningham, Bobby Douglas, Fran Tarkenton. I mean, I don't get Cordell Stewart. We could go on and on. And you had a chance to go, he broke the record, but it was almost they were embarrassed for him to break the rushing record. I mean, would they have pulled him if he was two touchdown passes away in the final game of throwing for a touchdown record? No. You got a chance to break the all-time rushing record, and you sit his ass after he killed himself to try to win. So I felt bad for him on that, John.
I think that's a great assessment, Mike. I mean, they ran him out there all season long. He got beat up, missed a couple of games too, or
almost killed him.
Exactly. And now you have a chance to break a record.
You got a shot at the record. So Bear fans, even the Meatball's been predicting he's going to the Hall of Fame. He's going to be an MVP. Well, your stuff goes to the Hall of Fame. When you get that rushing record, your spikes go, your jersey goes. You can bring your grandkids when you're Justin Fields in 2040, if you're not half dead yet from the beating you're going to take, because I don't know how much offensive line help they've really picked up yet. But he could show them that. And what do? They play Nathan Peterman or whatever the hell the kid's name was. Picked them up. Some fight. They found a guy in Roscoe Village and said, "Jump in, let's go." My God, just horrible, horrible.
I think your expectations for Fields, though, are pretty fair, I would say. I don't think you're asking too much of him, and I think those are realistic and doable for him in 2023. Based on all these signings, do you think he'll do it?
He can't have it the other way around. I think I'm being meager. I'd expect more from most quarterbacks, but he's still not a great passer yet. But I think he's going to have more confidence. I think he likes his coaching staff. Poles seems to have a good grasp on things. So I'm hopeful. But I want to know who they're bringing in. I mean, are they going to bring another quarterbacks? It's like they want to give him a clear field. And you know what? Because if they don't, maybe they'll find out something they don't want to find out.
How do you feel about them losing David Montgomery?
I liked him. He
Me
was a
too.
workhorse, but now I'm hearing, well, that's business from Bear fans, okay? Or from the media. Well, wait a minute. That guy grinded out all the tough yards. That guy cost us Jordan Howard, basically, because he was going to be all that and more, this kid. I thought this kid played well. I thought he played hard every time I saw him play. I think he's a loss for the Bears. I definitely think he's a loss for the Bears, but, we'll see what happens there. I mean, running backs are not a rare commodity. They're just a commodity now. They used to be special. They're not anymore. They really aren't.
David Montgomery, before the offseason, was projected to get around $10 to $12 billion per year. Now, that would have been too much, but based on this money the Lions paid him, it seemed like the Bears could have easily kept him if they wanted to.
Well, and I'm also wondering about the Eagles. We picked up an Eagle player. We picked up a Buffalo player. Why didn't they match? Why did they all of a sudden, hey? Because I don't think they were going to make that money from the people they were with. Look, I've been in negotiations. If you don't leave, and this happened to me twice, my station matched what other stations were offering. The third time they didn't. Then I went shuffling away. But the first 2-3 times they did. So if you're worth your weight in salt, why would Philadelphia? They lost 4 or 5 guys.
They did.
Pertinent guys. But so I mean, the kid that came from Buffalo, I didn't hear Buffalo go, oh my God. So let's see what happens once everything shakes out. I think there's a lot of people in the National Football League around the country that are, Super Bowl with the free agent pickups they're picking up, John.
Who should the Bears target in this draft?
I'm pretty sharp. I didn't take a nap today either. I'm on my game tonight. You know it. I know it. Let's not try to hide the fact.
Who do you think the Bears should target in the draft now, Mike?
Wow, it's going to be fun. Offensive lineman.
Yeah.
I want offensive lineman. I don't want the kid from Georgia, the defensive tackle. I want Anderson, but we're not going to get him now. That's where the 9th pick screws you. I wanted Anderson from Alabama. Carter, they said he looks fat, he looks slow. But here's what really scared me in the championship game. If you listen to the announcers, Herb Street, he said, well, there's a new guy coming in for Jalen Carter. And what really caught my ear was when he said, and the coaching staff says there's no fall off when he comes in for Carter. And I'm going, well, wait a minute. If there's no fall off and this guy's supposed to be a top 3 pick, am I supposed to believe that this guy is worthy of a top 3 pick that just replaced him? And then I watched, and the kid I forget his name, the kid wreaked havoc. So I don't believe in defensive tackles for first-round picks. I'll give you a perfect example. Tommy Harris. Tommy Harris was a guy that, as usual, Bear fans, he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. We're going to kick some ass. Let's have a beef sandwich. Yeah. Every guy. Oh, he's a wrecking ball. But all it takes to hurt a defensive tackle is one cut. You're inside the line. Just find a fat guy. Find somebody. Don't waste a number 1 pick, even if it's 9th, on him. Get somebody, an edge rusher. Get a defensive back. Get a skilled position player. Don't go for some guy whose work ethic now is being questioned. Please, dear Lord, don't do that.
Assuming the Bears draft right, Mike, this division is wide open. Where do you expect the Bears to finish?
Well, Aaron Rodgers is gone, so goodbye. All you care about is yourself. I was never wrong about you. Since 2000, man, I've been going at it every year with Packer fans, and you guys won 1 Super Bowl with that bum. 1. He was nothing but a stat-stuffing regular season hero. That's all he was. And that's all I ever said. And I used to take crap from you people. You got 2 Super Bowls in 33 years between Favre and between Rodgers. And you call up the Bambino, and you're going to give me grief about Aaron Rodgers? That's the guy I swear to God, that sold marijuana cookies on the beach in 1973. My God, this guy's lost his mind. Now he goes to the Jets. Let's go to the AFC. That's a good business move. There's not many teams there. Let me leave the NFC and play in the AFC, where every team's got a quarterback almost better than me, if not better. Then I hear him say, with the right team, I could be MVP again. All about you. All about you, pal. That's why you won once. I never heard Brady, with the right team, I could be MVP. All he did was whip your ass and everybody else's. And hear the grief that Rodgers or Peyton Manning or Justin Fields now are the greatest quarterbacks on earth. Well, Tom Brady was in the league. But Aaron Rodgers, I want him to die a slow death in New York. And if he's sensitive at Green Bay, wait till he gets with those guys. Unless they're in their, they've turned into kiss asses too out there. Believe me.
Well, that's what I was saying, Mike, because if they're okay with Daniel Jones making $40 million, then they aren't what they once were before.
No. The New York media, you just have to watch it on TV. My God. They're fawners. Sam Darnold, Zach Wilson. They're all going to be better than Trubisky. Now, Trubisky may never start again, but he's going to be in the league a long time helping somebody. He went 3-3 last year. Zach Wilson. Thank God the Jets got Rodgers. It would have been a disaster. But we'll see what happens. But they're not beating Buffalo. But now the pressure's on the Jets. The last time I heard that was 1968. Now the pressure's on the Jets. I swear. I heard it with my own ears. Now the pressure's on the Jets. It's 1968, and Richard M. Nixon is campaigning right now. Come on.
How good do you think they'll even do? I mean, Rodgers is going to need some weapons out there. Obviously, it didn't work with Zach Wilson. Are they going to be much more improved just because Rodgers is there?
Every game. I hope that selfish bastard loses every game. I hope. You know what? I don't care what he did to the Bears. Everybody does that to the Bears.
Right.
I hope Green Bay does well and the Jets suck. I hope that kid Jordan Love, I mean, he hasn't had a lot of opportunities. Who knows? I see where the Bears are now favored. They're second along with Minnesota. Bear fans are funny. They have the favorite is Detroit. Then they have the Bears in Minnesota at plus 300 as a tie. So I'm watching Twitter. Bears are second place. Oh, God. Kill me now, please. Reading some guy's standing sheet. It's gotten bad. We got to win something.
Do you think they'll actually finish up there? I mean, are those odds good? But what do you think about that?
Goff had a great year for Detroit. Nobody knows it. He should have been comeback player of the year, maybe. I mean, really. I mean, Geno Smith got it, but he come back from where? Geno Smith was what he was. Jared Goff was a Super Bowl quarterback, and then he comes to Detroit, and they do some good stuff. I think right now the Bears are where they should be. Let's see what happens. Let's see how it fares out. I want the line to get better. You can't have Justin Fields running wild, and he's got to let, he's going to hold on to the ball if he gets a little protection, but you got to give him a better line too, and they improved it a little bit through free agency so far.
How have you evaluated Brian Poles and Matt Eberflus too through their first year and now through free agency?
Well, we're going to find out, aren't we? This is the first time.
Right.
I thought it was odd they decided to keep Fields since he wasn't their guy, but they must see something too, which is good for them. And so they figure their quarterback situation's clean. Think about that. No problem. Bears. All we needed was some people around them. That's all I've been hearing. So now, if they don't win, what's the next excuse going to be? Because around him. They have to, because they the quarter, it's Foles, whether it was Dalton, whether it was Glennon, whether it was Cutler, they've been wrong about every guy. So now if he stinks the place up, what's everybody going to say then? Well, he has people around it, but they're not as good as they thought they were going to be. No, they're not performed. There's some injuries. The days of the honeymoon's got to be over for Justin Fields. I mean, he's being covered the last 2 years like he's a Super Bowl quarterback. And he's the opposite of that. He's a vomit bucket right now. The team's a vomit bucket. They lost 10 in a row. And Justin Fields lost 9 in a row, and I'm hearing MVP. Bear fans need a lobotomy. But, hey, now that Rodgers is out, maybe this is it. Maybe this is what they needed to do because they couldn't beat him.
Let me ask you this, Mike, and I've been asking some other Bears fans about this too. Matt Nagy and Ryan Pace were the ones who drafted Justin Fields. Will you ever give them credit for their pick if Fields turns out to be good?
No, because they screwed my guy, Trubisky. They had a quarterback. They were set there. He didn't, but everybody wanted him to be more. I would ask any of the guys that I've known over the years, Dan Pompei, Brad Biggs, any of them, name me somebody that was better than him that quartered for the Bears, and that includes Cutler. You could put up the numbers, but not his record was 57-57. And I respect a lot of the Bear guys, but they the Bear media couldn't judge a quarterback if their lives actually depended on it. They'd be dead on the street. They would have been dead with the third wrong pick. Cutler's going to be great. Cutler, let's give him an extension. No, 57-57. I mean, that's what we got. And a sourpuss on top of it. So I think I'll let go of the Trubisky stuff as soon as Fields is evaluated in the right way. I don't know if the media's woke, if they're afraid to criticize, but he was absolutely, as far as passing the ball and turnovers, he's one of the worst in the league in the first 2-3 years of football. So just cover the guy fairly. I see it in politics. They covered Trubisky a whole lot different than Fields. A whole lot different. If Trubisky never lost 9 games in a row. Ever.
And imagine what happened if he would have lost 9 games in a row. Oh, my
God.
Right.
No, they with Justin Fields, it's like they kiss his feet and then say his feet taste minty. You know what I mean? I mean, that's how.
Why is the media always wrong, Mike? Why are they always wrong about which quarterback is
and why do the people still listen to the same guys? I told them not to sign Cutler. I told them I wanted Watson. I was happy with Trubisky. Best quarterback I've seen in Chicago since before Cutler. Period. End of story. He's better than Cutler was. He was a more positive influence in the clubhouse. The players loved him, and they screwed everything up. We didn't need a quarterback. We didn't need to go out and move up. We moved up for a guy that's a project. Think about that. That's what he is right now. So, hopefully, these new guys will come over. But where are they coming from? Where did DJ Moore come from? Carolina? Huh?
Right.
Okay. That's called a lateral move for money in the business. Maybe less than a lateral move. So we'll see.
I love your comparison about DJ Moore earlier, though, and I said that on my show last week. He reminds me a lot of Allen Robinson. So many bad quarterbacks always putting up good numbers. I feel like he'll be a really good asset for Justin Fields.
I'm excited. I want Poles to succeed. It seems like he's got a plan. It seems like he thought this out. But I think anybody else that was in his position would have done the same God blessed thing, probably. Maybe they might have gotten a better deal through somebody else. Don't forget, folks, he's the guy that signed Claypool. That draft pick was that was a bad decision. The 2 turned into a 1. The Claypool decision, unless he produces, and I saw a guy that was sort of like gun shy last year. You know what I mean? And I saw a guy frustrated with Fields a couple times when he was open. That will get you too. But that was a bad decision. Let's see what happens here. But like I said, Carolina lost that deal, so I'm going to give the Bears the benefit of the doubt.
I think the draft is going to be important too, Mike, because last year, not every draft pick worked out. Bayless Jones was a complete bust, in my opinion. So I'm curious to see what Poles does this year, looking at some offensive guys and also some line help on both ends.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that, they're putting together basically another, I don't want to call it rebuild. Chicago is the king of rebuilds, but I don't want to hear that crap. I saw the Giants change coaches and they go right to the playoffs, so I don't want to hear that. You can get healthy. Last year, I think every year, 5 to 6 teams that made the playoffs the year before don't make it the next year. There's somebody new. So there's going to be some surprises. I think there were some teams that helped themselves. The Vikings picked up a couple players. Green Bay didn't do anything. They lost Rodgers. They're screwed. Detroit's been okay. They picked up one guy, but they lost a defender. So we'll see what happens. It's going to be a wide open division.
Mike North here on Sports Talk Chicago. Mike, wanted to get into the podcast now. I know we talked about it a little bit earlier, but I wanted to get the backstory. How did you come up with this new program on the Barroom Network?
So I'm sitting at home.
Okay.
About a month and a half ago only. And I'm seeing Lisa Marie Presley died. So I'm watching Fox first. I watch Fox News first. And I'm watching, they go, Lisa Marie Presley, the daughter of rock icon Elvis Presley, died today. She was 54. She was around with family. Very short, though. And there's nothing on Michael Jackson. She's the widow of Michael Jackson, or she was married. Michael Jackson was, her husband. Nothing. So then I start flipping around. You know me. I'm flipping around. I see a local station. She was the daughter of pop icon Elvis Presley. I go, pop icon? The king of rock and roll, for God's sake, Then I watch another one. It says Lisa Marie Presley, daughter of rock star Elvis Presley, who was married. So I heard different accounts. Then I started hearing different accounts of a couple more people that died. So I said, you know what? They ain't covering death like they used to. Now, the National Football League is good at covering death. Bud Grant just died. He was all over the place. He just died. So I say, I want to design a show that's going to cater to the lowlifes, to the downtrodden, to the people that aren't paid that much attention to. So lo and behold, I'm thinking it over. And John Shaky Suntress brought it up to me. He said, hey, have you thought up any new projects? Because I don't know. But then I started watching. So then I come up with the name of the show. Somebody big just died. And so, excuse me, I'm in partnership with Aldo Gandia, who's at the Barroom, good friend, great, a genius of putting shows together. I won a couple Emmys. He's won a couple Emmys in TV. He was on the production end. I was on the host end. And I said, this guy's perfect. I just want to do 15, 20 minutes on people that aren't carried sufficiently. And I want to call somebody, just died. Somebody big just died. So then I went out and I sold it. I went to Cumberland Chapels and I sat down with the Lupos and with Tino Antonacci. I said, you guys, how would you like to sponsor a different type of show? Not sports, something about coverage of death. And I laid it out for him. And now we've done 4 shows. We did a retroactive show on some that had died previously, like Richard Belzer, Raquel Welch, Stella Stevens, David Crosby. But we do one, when somebody dies, we make a decision. Now, Bud Grant didn't make the list. He made honorable mention. The 3 people we've done it on so far is Tom Sizemore from Saving Private Ryan, and, of course, Heat and others, and Robert Blake, and the first 2 guys we did, they didn't even get covered at the Oscars. The Oscars ignored them. So it played right into what we're doing. They're 15, 20-minute shows sponsored by Cumberland Chapels and Pennyville Station Restaurant in Park Ridge. We just did it on Joe Pepitone. I mean, how much coverage was there on a guy that was 21 years old and played first base for the Yankees in the World Series 2 years in a row. And then how many people knew that when he played for the Cubs for 4 years, he had a bar called Joe Pepito's Thing. And he also got caught running a red light with 9 ounces of cocaine in his trunk. I mean, his whole story, a freebasing kid. He was ambassador to the Yankees. I met him at the Cub Fantasy Camp. So he was our third guy. So we've had Robert Blake, Tom Sizemore, and Joe Pepitone so far. And I think Jimmy Carter will probably be our fourth one. He's been on hospice for a while. So unfortunately, the former president will be there. And we don't want to overdo it. We don't want to pick people that aren't worthy. But if they're unusual stories, and all three guys, cocaine, all three of them. Jail, Rikers Island for Joe Pepitone, Sizemore, Blake with the murder. All famous guys, but infamous guys also. So get a chance, check it out at North to North, folks. It's called Somebody Big Just Died.
What's been the response to it so far? Because, again, this is different than other shows out there for sure.
Well, I've done a lot of bear podcasts. Well, this one, we're getting 18. We had 18 for Sizemore and for Blake. And I'm good at keeping after it because I like to repost them.
Sure.
We've had 18,000 views for each. That's huge. That's huge in the pod, and it's good for our sponsors. So we're happy about that. Pepitone's got like 10 right now, 10,000. We just put it out yesterday. So it's going well. It's a good idea. It's undercovered. There's not enough information. Other TV stations can go there now, and they'll actually get a bigger than thumbnail sketch of what these guys were about and the problems they had, not only on the set but off the set, and on the field and off the field.
What's one of the better stories that you can recall from those 3 episodes about them?
Well, Sizemore with Heidi Fleiss is a story. She ruined him. He was hooked on heroin. He had a bright future. He died at only 62. He was in some great movies. Saving Private Ryan, Heat. He was the mean guy all the time in those, or the stand-up guy like he was the sergeant in Private Ryan. But I think Robert Blake's story is the best. And people don't. He killed his daughter, his wife, Bonnie Lee Blakely. She was married 9 times to celebrities or to wealthy men. Robert Blake was acquitted of the murder. What he said is, they went to dinner at Vitello's restaurant, and they went back out. He was parked on a side street. He gets in the car with her. He goes, "Oh, I forgot my gun." He used to carry a gun with him. So he goes back to the restaurant, and I think he hired somebody. They tried to hire a couple other guys. He did, and they pimped on him and said, "You know what? This guy tried to do it." He goes, "Yeah, but they didn't do it, so I didn't do anything." But he set up the alibi saying, "I would never do that." I think he found somebody that killed him. He goes back to the car with his gun. She's dead. He runs back in, and they said they checked his gun, the cops. It wasn't fired. So I think he had this thing all planned, but I didn't care when he was acquitted. She was married 9 times. She ruined guys. She tried to ruin him. And she told Christian Brando, "This is my baby," and it was Robert Blake's. Okay, and "This is my baby from you." So she told Robert Blake she was pregnant from somebody else. They had the paternity test. It was his, but she was sleeping around too. I feel like Nancy Grace. I love it.
It's very intriguing. That sounds like a Goodfellas story, doesn't it?
Me and Eldo have had a guess. It's not sports and the same knock crying and load management and all this crap. These are real guys and real people. We haven't had a woman yet, although we had Bonnie Lee Blakely involved in the Robert Blake. But I thought, and when I was a kid, the reason I went to Cumberland Chapels, I think they're preeminent in the Chicagoland area. But also when I was a kid, funeral homes used to sponsor your baseball teams and everything all the time. I said, if I'm going to do something on dead people, I want the best. So I went to them. And then I said, I went to my buddy Tino. They said, we're in. And so good.
Mike,
I
Mike,
don't hear you.
Yep, I'm back. I'm here. Sorry about that. One more
you zone
question.
out?
One more question for you before we finish up, too.
All right.
What's next for Mike North?
Well, I'm working on this thing for Raul Jewelers. It's going to be something that's going to be historic. It's going to be hooked up with Hollywood and stuff. So I don't want to say it now, but if I do, when I do announce it, Jen, I'll come on the show.
Perfect.
And,
we're gonna promo that
because I miss you. I miss you. I haven't seen you.
It's been a while.
I hear you. Yeah. You know, I sit at home and look out the window. You know, somebody said the other day, it's a great. They asked Honus Wagner, the great baseball player. They said, "What do you do during the winter?" He goes, "Look out the window and wait for it to turn into summer." Period. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just hanging out, betting some games. Got the tournament coming on tomorrow. I'll be up bright and early. I'll be up about 4:35, starting the handicap, get ready for the games. So I'm looking forward to it.
Well, Mike, I really appreciate the time as always. It was great to see you and catch up. Best wishes with the new program, and I can't wait to see you again very soon.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it very much. And check out those programs on North to North, folks. See you, John.
Bye, Mike.